to the first mobility flow of the challenge. I'm so happy you're all here to move more, find little ways to be healthier during your week, especially during the holidays. Today we're just going to move gently, flowing through different stretches and mobility things for our spine and our hips and our shoulders and everything. And so I just want you to listen to your body. None of this should be painful. It should feel good. Modify if you need to. I'll give different options. If one of the stretches or movements that we do doesn't feel good in your body, take a break, maybe come to a child's pose or a seat or something that you know does feel good for your body. So thank you so much for being here. And I want everyone to take a moment to think about what you're grateful for, maybe something good that's happened in your day, or something that you're looking forward to. We're gonna start with some deep breaths. And I want everyone to put your hands on the outside of your ribs, and I want you to gently press in. Imagine that someone's lifting your head towards the ceiling as you take a big inhale into your hands. And then out through your mouth. So really trying to fill in the ribs on the inhale, and then exhale slowly out the mouth. So it's really important that you keep breathing during this entire flow. Really thinking about inhaling through the nose, outtaling through the nose or the mouth. Taking full breaths in. Let's take 2 more. And out. Last one. Okay, go ahead and come with me, and you're gonna roll down to your back, very slow and controlled, using those core muscles all the way down. Go ahead and hug behind that right thigh and straighten the left leg out. Flex it up, point it down. Flex it up, point it down. This is a great move to open up the hamstrings, the back of the leg, and also glide our nerves. So it's okay if your leg doesn't get as straight as mine. Hold it at the top, big ankle circles. Nice and controlled, as big as you can, and reverse them. Still breathing. Go ahead and bend that other leg up, cross it over all the way, and then drop it to the side of the leg crossed over. Open your arms, either in a T or a cactus, and gaze to the opposite hand, if that feels okay. Taking some breaths here, really thinking about expanding in the ribs as you inhale and exhaling slowly out. I'm going to stay here for 1 more breath. And out. Go ahead, on your exhale, move your legs back to center using your abdominals, and then uncross the leg, hug behind the left thigh, straighten the right leg out. Flex it up, point it down, nice and controlled. It might feel a little different on this side compared to the other side. That's normal. It shouldn't hurt, so back off a little bit if it is starting to bother you. 1 more, and then we're going to hold it at the top. Big ankle circles. Really nice and controlled, like you're drawing a huge circle with your toe on the ceiling. And then reverse. And then go ahead and bend that right leg up, cross the left one all the way over, drop it towards the side of the crossed leg, and then opening your arms up wide. If you do have a block around, you can always put it underneath your legs if they're not making it to the floor. And we might use it during some of this flow too. I forgot to mention that earlier. You can also use books, some pillows if you have them around, just so you can actually relax into the stretches and not worrying so much about holding them. 2 more breaths, really feeling those ribs and abdomen expand on that inhale. Exhale, sink a little deeper. 1 more. Go ahead and come onto your backs, exhaling, using those abdominals to bring those legs back up. Hug one knee into your chest and then the other. Give yourself a big hug, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders.
And then using your core, rock and roll. Massaging that spine. Last one. Cross the ankles and come to all fours. Okay, so from here, your wrist should be right underneath your shoulders, your knees right under your hips. We're gonna do some cat-cows, but we're gonna do them a little differently, really slow and controlled, and thinking about articulating at each level of our spine. So as we exhale, we're going to tuck our chin and roll down, thinking about rolling in the mid-back, then the low back, then the pelvis. And then as we inhale, we're gonna reverse it. Lift the tailbone first, and then make its way to the chest. Exhale, curling that chin, rolling one vertebra at a time, all the way to the tailbone towards the ground. And then inhale, tailbone towards the ceiling, rolling up one at a time. Moving at what feels good pace-wise, where you can move with your breath. We're gonna do 2 more here. Really thinking about moving at each level. And then last 2. Pressing the ground away with your hands, fingers are splayed out. Last one. Exhale, roll. Inhale, come back to neutral. From here, you're gonna put your right hand behind your head and you're gonna bring your elbow to your wrist and then open up, making sure your hips aren't shifting, and then you wanna keep them right over your knees. Exhale, open. That was my shoulder that just popped. We're gonna do 2 more here. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Last one. And then put that hand on the ground. Other side, hand behind your ear, elbow to that wrist, and open up. And exhale, inhale in. Exhale, inhale, 2 more. Really getting some nice rotation in that mid-back. We often lose mobility there from sitting at our desk and slouching forward, and it's so important. Go ahead and place that hand down. We're gonna come into a child's pose, big toes to touch, knees wide, sit back onto your heels. From here, we're gonna work a little bit on our shoulder mobility. So you're gonna turn your pinkies towards the mat, thumbs facing up. You're gonna pull your shoulder blades down your back, and reach one arm up, put it down. Other arm up, put it down. Do what you can. If you can't lift them off, it's okay. We're gonna keep alternating a few more on each side. Really lifting it with as much control as possible. And breathing. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. 1 more on each side. Last one. From here, you're gonna come into a puppy pose if it feels okay. If not, I want you to stay in your child's pose, put your hands together and put it onto the back of your neck to get a little more tricep and lat stretch. If you have a little more mobility or you wanna try puppy pose, you're gonna send your hips right over your knees and slide your chest and chin to the ground. This does not feel great for everyone, so if it doesn't feel good, go back to that option in child's pose. You can also have your forehead here, if that feels okay. This is a big shoulder opener. I don't want it to feel stressful in your joints. So again, you can always come back to that child's pose, hands behind your head. We're gonna stay here for 2 more breaths. Exhale, sink deeper into the stretch. 1 more. From here, coming up onto your forearms, I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. You're gonna send your right leg out, toes facing forward, feeling a nice stretch in this inner thigh. Shift the hips back and forward, back and forward. Still thinking about keeping that a little bit of that connection in the core. Thinking about those ribs towards the hip points. and pushing the ground away through the elbows. 2 more breaths here. If the forearms don't feel accessible to you, just come onto your hands. And then go ahead and bring that leg in and then shoot the other leg out. Coming down to the forearms if you did so on the other side, or staying on your hands if that feels better for you. Really try to keep your spine in neutral even with your shifting so that you don't tuck and get some of that motion from your back. You really want to get it just from your hip. If the rocking doesn't feel good, you can always stay in one spot. You want to maintain this hip over the knee and not shift it too far or this way. So finding that good alignment, checking in with yourself, seeing what feels tight and what maybe feels loose. Taking some deep breaths. Doing mobility flows like this is really great to increase our body awareness and also just take some time to regulate our parasympathetic system. Okay, go ahead and bring that leg in. I'll come back here. We're gonna push back to a down dog just for a second. Tuck those toes, push the hips up towards the ceiling. It's okay if you bend your knees and have your heels lifted. We're just easing into it, whatever feels good in your body. I do want you to push the ground away and then also think about rotating your crease of your biceps forward so that we can stabilize in our shoulders. You want to imagine that someone's pulling your tailbone towards the ceiling. And then you also want to keep good core control. So even here, we want to use some of our muscles. You want to pull those ribs towards your hip points, press the ground away, dial those hands out. If you can, sink those heels down. It's okay if you can't. We're going to go through a little flow here. You're going to lift up high onto your toes on the inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, chest and thighs, and then drive those heels down to the ground. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, lift up high. Exhale, hips down, up, and sink the heels down. Really trying to bring that chest towards your thighs. 3 more like that, only going where it feels okay for you. Last 2. Last 1. From here, go ahead and crawl your hands back. You're going to heel toe your feet out a little bit and you're going to sit into a yogi squat. I'm going to come to the front so you can see me. Here's another great spot for a block. If you have one, you want to sit on it. If this is not accessible to you, try to hold on to a door frame or something so you can lean back and get into this. If still it doesn't feel good, go ahead and sit down, put the soles of your feet together and let the knees gently fall out. Using those elbows, I like to press my knees out a little more. I like to do a little rocking here if that feels okay. Taking some breaths, really thinking about keeping the neck long. We're gonna do a little bit of twists here. If it feels okay, put that left hand down, reach the right hand up, still pressing equally through both feet. Come on down, switch, right hand out, left hand up, fall tall with the left hand, still pressing equally through both feet, opening up in that chest. 1 more breath here. And then come on down. Go ahead and come to a seat from here, cross the legs over. We're gonna do some side bending real quick. Big inhale, reach up and over. Come back down. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, back together. 1 more on each side. Inhale. This time rotate, reach that hand towards the ground. Come back, open, and then up. Other side, reach up and over. Rotate down towards the ground. Up, open. Let's take 1 big breath all together, guys. Inhale in. And out. Great work today. Really think about how you're feeling in your body after going through some of these movements. I can't wait to do the rest of the 3 weeks.